Hi, welcome to my tube. My name's Marge. I'm a Yoke empath, and I just like having these little conversations on the way I feel about things. And well, if you know what a empath is, that's kind of funny. Otherwise, anyway, I was just listening to a talk. Carl Jung. They did in 1959, I believe, and he was just Kid Millions was the video, is the name of the station that it's on, Face to Face, Carl Gustav Jung, 1959. I dig that guy's line of thinking. We're in the same freak tribe. It was funny, I was watching this interview, and when I watch people talk and stuff, I just watch everything about him, and he smokes a pipe, and I think about all this stuff about how I am in alignment with this individual, not only with what they're saying, but their characteristics, too. And ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to smoke a pipe. I was in alignment with a little pipe. And it was like 3 minutes into the video, and he was talking about how he was 11 when he stepped out of a mist and realized, I am what he was, that he had a consciousness. And he went on to talk about it, and then I thought I'd jump on and do a live here today, and because it had me thinking. I was like, that's funny. That was one of the first movies I ever saw, was early version, or a version of Popeye. And people see what Popeye, and they think of the comic book. Sunday morning comic book, comic strip, or cartoon or something like that. But there was a movie that Robin Williams in. That's why I got this for him, because of that movie. One of Popeye's catchphrases is, I am what I am, and right, wrong, or indifferent, that's how I pretty much lived my whole life. Ever since I was a little girl, I always wanted to wear bow ties. I just always wanted to wear bow ties. And it was about 10 years ago, 11, I watched a YouTube video, and I freaking started my journey, and I have a pretty nice collection, I have a pretty nice collection, about 30, all kinds of different patterns and stuff like that. I think I'm a snappy dresser. I definitely have a style sense, unlike, I don't know, more and more. Actually, I can't say that anymore because other people are catching on. So that's all right. It's cool. The more the merrier, man. The more the merrier. Maybe people will start to think of me as more mainstream, less of a freaking weirdo than if more people start to get comfortable with other people like me. Anyway, people are coming into figuring out who they are. That's what the astrology is doing right now. It's setting it up. People are staying home. They're thinking about it. They're like, man, either that or they're distracting themselves. They're continuing that trajectory. They'll just distract themselves and keep doing the same behaviors, and you'll come out probably about 10, 12 out, pounds younger or more fit. It depends on where your vibe sits, because when you feel bad about stuff, you do things to make yourself feel worse. So you stay in that, and then you do and then so that way you have to do things to make yourself feel better. But stuff that you do ultimately makes you feel worse because it contributes to all the reasons why you feel bad to begin with. Yep. So, well, that's all right. Ultimately, the goal is for people to shed the things, that the wreckage of their past, and that's not just this incarnation, it's incarnations previous. Just because your family line has done things, just because they've just been doing their jobs. Go lay down, Artie. Go lay down. You're fine. Go ahead. You want to come in? You coming in? Come on, Artie Pants. Do something. You can't stay there and whine, because nope. Can't have that. You're alright, bud. Mom already went to bed. God bless her. She's 69. She had a major brainstem stroke when she was 38. Might have been because the guy slammed her head in the car door of a 64 Chevy Biscayne. Yeah. For whatever reason, I've been looking out for her for a long time. You know, it's funny. I made a folder about Salem, Oregon, and its greedy something, and I put all the videos in it of my freaking pain in the ass problems I've had with the freaking city and the water, and going on 3 years without running water, and I'm working to pay it down, but I'm paying it down for like a $1,300 bill, and I've only been paying down on like 4 months, but hopefully by August I'll have it turned back on, right? Then I get this email. Because the thing of it is people can help people if they want to help people, especially if they know that like the person really wants to do the right thing. They just don't have the finances, and nobody. And it was funny. I started collecting business cards. There's like, because they kept coming to check on the stupid little project, which they're supposed to come and clean up and take all the sprinkler system away and stuff, so they can stop watering the weeds and stuff. It's all in the videos on the playlist. Go check it out if you're new to the tube. And I think about it, and because I got a letter today from the city of Salem, and it's for billing in support of our customers, because they care so much that they may be facing additional difficulties, and because of the blah blah blah, they're not going to discontinue service for people. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. I'm going on year 3. How nice of you. That's so big of you. I'm like, I wonder if I fall into this category, or if I fall into a crack somewhere, because my water's been shut off for so long, and I'm just that lady that yells where I live, the address, that yells at the employees because nobody hears me when I say that somebody made a mistake, and please work, and they wouldn't, so then you yell, and then you're the crazy, and that's what they do. That's what psychopaths do, that don't have any emotions and feelings. But then I look at the kind of people that I'm looking at, they just worked in a position their whole life. They're just doing their job, And it's just like, you just doing your job, and freaking ultimately you're gonna, because I've been watching 6 Feet Under, so I think I'm starting to picture how people are gonna go, and I see a lot of heart attacks. Freaking heart attack, everywhere, just heart attack waiting to happen, heart attack waiting to happen, heart attack. And I'm not just talking about freaking, people that are of larger stature, of the obese frame, I mean, our bones are only this bit. They're only in our joints. They're only made to freaking hold so much. Like the structure of a vehicle, it's only supposed to. And people, man, have a lot of expectations about that. They think your bones are growing along with your flesh in the side there. That there's a ratio. That's why, it's part of the system that perpetuates it, because it's just easier to replace them. Just keep replacing them. Keep replacing the knees and the, or you could not do the stuff to need the, But one takes a little bit more effort and a little bit more work, and I think the energy is kind of shifting towards the fact that people are going to have that energy and gumption to get up and go. I hope so, man. Numbers. Is anybody in the chat today? Where am I? Analytics. I'll close that page. Have I been rambling on for that long? Today is the 11th. So Venus is going retrograde. It's retrograde season. So people get to go do the rediscover, review, all that stuff, revisit, stuff like that. And I think about the stuff that people need to make themselves feel better about things. Well, I think about the things that I used to need. And then as these cycles have gone past last year after year, you know, because I think about where I was like the last time we were getting stimulus checks, you know, when things were falling apart back in 2007, 2008. I wasn't feeling the effects. It was just like stuff like flour money that I could use to buy flour. I just bought a house. Life was good for me. It was falling apart for a whole bunch of other people. And then later, when life was good for a whole lot of other people, it freaking the bottom fell out for me. See, that's just depends on your astrology and your path and the lessons that you're supposed to learn personally. You know, we all go through the same lessons. We all do, plus or minus, for the most part. We all lose people that we care and love about significantly, sometimes in life, sometimes in death. Sometimes on good terms, sometimes in bad. You know. And the closer that connection, the more significance of the loss, and people can really get stuck in the pain of the loss. And then they try to do things to cover up that pain and the loss, and then it's to their detriment. Yeah. It's just easier to feel emotions, man. I wish people would just, yeah, cry it out. Stay hydrated. What else? I don't really know. Oh, I'm seeing grumblings of stuff more being revealed across the way, you know. And I think, just like in the stimulus package, so I don't get too excited about this, you know, because this ain't for little people, you know. It's all for the big business. But they had the chance back in 2008 to do it, and they have the chance to, and it's not. They're saving themselves. The big companies are, because they're more greedy, man. They got bigger then. If they really cared about people, they would have, you know. That's the thing, is all these people, the companies, they call them non-for-profits, fake for profits. Come on, our pants. Come on in, hang out, butts. Love you, butts. Good dog. Just frisky into bits. Yes, a good dog. Good dog. Is it? They could have been helping people. All that's happened since then is they got the bailouts. You know, I was doing the math the other day. You know, say you buy a house for like $189,000, right? You pay $1,200 a month on that. You pay that house off in 13 years. Yeah. But no. What happens is, with the system that's set up, the top down that doesn't trickle down, the top down that stays up top. And it continues because egos keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and the bigger the egos, the more absorbent, and, you know, they feel good when they take away from other people. That's what they gets their jollies off, is freaking providing scarcity, the vibration of fear in other people. They freaking get their jollies off, you know. Money doesn't even matter to them. They just like freaking instilling fear and because it makes themselves feel big and superior and stuff like that. And, well, there's the humanity in that. It's all this stuff about narcissism. People, I'm like, dude, and you know, all the things. Yeah, people have said that I was a narcissist, but I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't want to be in control. I don't want to be in charge. I step up to the plate because I have a lot of life experience, and I've taken care. I've been looking out for my mom since I was 5 years old. I've been freaking making breakfast, scramble, you know. And she ain't even alcohol. She's not like an alcohol, like a drug. She just has low periods, you know. And we all do, you know, because she's been had insurmountable stress too, and that's the thing. People don't realize that people that have feelings and emotions, we feel stress. Psychopaths and narcissists, they don't feel stress and process it the way that regular people or, you know, empaths do. We're kind of sitting in the world of either you're an N or an E, you know. Oh, it's an N. You just care about you. And those people do weird things that care about themselves. They freaking cut their faces up and make themselves look different, pay thousands and thousands of dollars to do it. People I know, I went to high school with now, it's the weirdest thing. They're starting to get plastic surgery, and I'm like, what? You think we're going to have an honest, sincere, you think I'm honestly going to believe that you and I are going to engage in an honest, sincere conversation when your face isn't even real? But the thing of it is I see people, and I see how their faces aren't real in real life. And so I kind of engage, it's just, there are very few people in my world. There's a lot of static. I see these like beings of just cognitive dissonance that just are just like water balloons, and their content is like football stats and third quarter earnings and pinstripe suits that cost tens and thousands of dollars and several real estate properties, and picky, picky, picky. Anyway, it is May 11th. It's a birthday. Taurus. I know a couple people have birth Taurus, man, in Aries. I had the karmic relationship with the Taurus for Dance at Death. Called it 8 years. And the thing of it is like, I definitely see the division of where they are today and where I am today, Took this. It's just weird. She ended up in the locker room, the Eagles, like, with everything that is completely contrary to what I believe in. Yeah. It's really interesting. She's really successful, though. That's cool. I'm glad for her. Whatever, gets her boat. And she loves her life, and that's all that matters. I look at it, and I'm just like, well, there's no football now, and there's no cutting hair now, and there's no all these things that she is. It's just like all the stuff that is, I guess, been deemed non-essential. But I've been non-essential for years, so who am I? I'm nobody. That's why I'm like, people are like, because I have said things like, you know what, I'm the best person I know, because nobody has seen the path that I've walked, and people don't know the miles that I've gone on my feet and in my car, because I knew a long time ago that it's shared time with people that counts, as just being in their present. When my grandmother passed away in 2004, the service was in 2005, and I only had a weekend to fly from Nebraska, and because it was my amends to my or it was part of my amends, and so I flew out, and I flew in, I landed in Sacramento, and I saw my brother, and we drove down the next morning to the funeral, which is a 4-hour drive from Sacramento to Atascadero. Went to the funeral. I rented a car and then drove back to Sacramento, which is 4 or 5 hours, and then another 2.5-3 hours north of that to see my mom, just so I could get a round table pizza, sleep on our couch, and get up and drive back to catch the plane the next morning. Because that's what you do. You show up. You do stuff. And then I was part of a group for a real long time about how they taught you to show up and do stuff, so it just was more instilled in me. And Luna's in there playing, actually. She sounds like that's the thing, is like, our barks are always work within our bite. She's in there playing. I used to think that she was like mad about something, and then I kept going in, and she's rolling around on her back on the blanket on the dog bed, living the best version of her life. And she was 40 minutes. She was less than an hour from being put down, and I was like, no, I'll take her. We're just a bunch of freaking disregard. We're just a bunch of. We're just a bunch of. I don't know. We've all been abandoned and dumped off by people. So I just collect them all, and that's what us empaths do, because we know what it feels like to be alone. We know what it feels like to be left out. So because we know what it feels like. We really try to do what we can to include other people. That's why I'm all about inclusion, and cooperation is nature's way, and I'm really waiting for more people to step up. But hey, I understand why people have their membership and they're paid. You know, you can pay for levels. I understand why people do that, and it teaches own. You know, I like to put the stuff that I learn as like a esoteric Sherlock together, and I like to give it away. And I have plenty of other ways to earn freaking. I mean, if people want to get, I've had people give me freaking send me $20 just because they like what I have to say. You know, I mean, I see super chats of like other people, and they're just like regurgitating all the other stuff that everyone else is saying. They're just parrots. They're just meh, 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 meh. Yeah, that's cool. I say something a little bit different here. I put it together a little bit different here. Ain't for everybody. I ain't mainstream, and I won't monetize because that's not the heart space what I'm coming from. I think a lot more people would actually see me if I did monetize. But I got a good story. I was like freaking tested for everything when I was a little girl, and I know they said I had Asperger's back then, but it falls on deaf ears. My parents were too busy hating each other to freaking pay attention to what was going on actually, or what would help, you know, the situation. They did the best they could with what they had, and worked out for me okay, because I didn't have that mindset that there was something different with me. I just always had bad grades, and but you know, I got good with being comfortable with what I had, just accepting and being okay with what I had and where I was at, you know. And then I started visioning my future and thinking, you know what, if I want a better life, I'm going to have to take some serious drastic action, you know, to get to where I want to get. So that's when I set the course of Air Force College. And then when I was in IT, I started looking at Asperger's. I saw like Temple Grandin's movie and freaking totally identified with that. And I started looking at it again, and it's like, oh yeah, the number. And I'm like, you know, a friend of mine was a teacher and I did the test, and or I've answered. Yeah, I know I am. I know I was then, and I just ignored it. And but then I think about where I could have been if I would have let that define I am, the I am of what I am. Of just, if I would have just looked at that. See, I look at kids that are spectrum. On the spectrum is full spectrum. They're just getting all, and that's why a lot of spectrum kids, they don't look at people in the eye because they know what people really think about them, and they don't have a general connection anyway. And people don't want to bother with people. Look how many people on the street don't look at people in the eye. I intentionally look at people in the eye when I pass them by, and they intentionally don't. Every now and again I'll come across someone that will, but for the most part, and that's the window to the soul, so that tells me there's a lot of soulless people in the world. That's what that tells me. That people don't want to connect. People don't want a connection. People tell me that all the time. I just want a connection with somebody. Then they connect with me, and it's so potent, or you know, they're like, oh no, that's too much. And I'm just like, well, next time, why don't you designate the fucking size of connection you want with somebody, but I won't bring myself down. Maybe I could refer you to someone I know. Anyway, that's about all I got for now. Hope you have a rad evening. Peace.